fan. Whoa. Freddie B here, IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. This is the neutral zone. Oh, we got a little bit of echo there. Sorry about that, guys. Doing it solo tonight. Adam Karnik, unavailable to join me, but you've got me here for the next 30 minutes to an hour talking all things hockey here on the neutral zone on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. But before we get started, let's please play a welcome to our sponsors who help us put on this show every week and every show on IE Sports Radio, iesportsradio.com. First Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet. You can order at planetjerky.net, and you can find them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Also, IE Sports Radio is proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to health research. Use code IESR to get 15% off of their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey. You can follow us here on the Neutral Zone. All of our links are down below. You can find me, Freddie B _sports at Twitter and Instagram and on TikTok. Adam Karnik, his posts are there as well. Also at IE Sports Radio, iesportsradio.com, and IESR Neutral Zone. That's where you can find us. Wow. We've got hockey going on. Slow tonight in the league. Only 2 games going on. And in those games right now, the Montreal Canadiens have taken a 3-2 lead over the Ottawa Senators. And the Senators trying to make a push into the playoffs right now, but Montreal hanging tight, picking up a goal recently by Ivan Davidov, his 14th of the season. Alexander Texier also with a goal for the Canadiens, as well as Uri Slavkovsky. Scoring for Ottawa tonight has been Drake Batherson. So he's got a pair for the Sens. Again, 3-2 in that one, 5 minutes left in the third. Over in Washington, we got a minute to go, and the Flyers, it's in Philadelphia. The Flyers up 3-1 over the Capitals. Looks like you could stick a fork in the Capitals at this point right now as far as their playoff hopes are concerned. The Flyers, on the other hand, looking to gain momentum, starting to build a little bit of steam. The Flyers will be tied with the Capitals at 71 points once this game goes final. The big one for Ottawa, they were only sitting 5 points behind the Bruins. They're going to take that big L unless they pull off something here towards the end of that game. Montreal, on the other hand, at 82 points, if they can get the win, they will be tied with the Tampa Bay Lightning for second in the Atlantic Division. Like I said, a light schedule of games tonight. Last night we had 13 games in the league. The Kings lost to the Bruins 2-1 in OT. The Sabres continue to win 8 in a row since the Olympic break, doubling up the Sharks 6-3. Montreal beat the Maple Leafs last night 3-1. Those hot Columbus Blue Jackets, who were fighting so hard to get into the playoffs, beat Tampa Bay on the road 5-2. The Panthers needed and they needed that win. Got it 4-3 over the Red Wings. The Rangers 4-0 home shutout victors against the Flames. Carolina, who was trailing to Pittsburgh, comes back and wins 5-4 in overtime. Pittsburgh still hanging alive. No Sidney Crosby, no Evgeny Malkin right now as well due to his suspension. But Carolina trekking 86 points right now to lead the Eastern Conference. The Islanders, 49 shots on goal, beat the Blues 4-3 in overtime. It was the Stars beating Vegas last night 2-1 as well. The Stars continue to win. Vegas continues to slide. Over in Minnesota, they shut out the Mammoth 5-0. The Ducks bounced back from their shutout loss to the Blues and beat the Jets, who had been surging, 4-1 in Winnipeg. The Oilers get a late goal and beat Colorado on the road. In this game, Nathan MacKinnon was kicked out. He got a 5-minute major match penalty and a game misconduct for running into the goaltender. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. And the final nightcap from last night was Nashville doubling up the Kraken. Both teams fighting for playoff spots, almost 2-1 shot advantage for Seattle last night, but they do lose 2-1. And that takes us right into the current standings right now in the league. Let me pull that up here for you. Let's see what we got here. Standing wise, Buffalo Sabres atop the Atlantic Division with 86 points. Tampa Bay trailing below with 82. They have been surpassed by this ongoing Buffalo Sabres team. We'll talk about them in just a second in that epic game in which those two teams had on Sunday night. Montreal sitting in third in the Atlantic with 80 points, soon to be 82. Over in the Metro, Carolina on top with 88. Pittsburgh and the Islanders both with 79. And then the two teams in the wild card, Detroit Red Wings with 79 and the Boston Bruins, who have the NHL's best home record, currently sit at 78 points. Over in the Western Conference, Colorado still dominating right now. 95 points in the Central, 5 ahead of the Dallas Stars. They did beat the Stars last week in a big game. Minnesota still right there at 87. Over in the Pacific, the Anaheim Ducks have taken over the lead in the Pacific, a 3-point lead now over the Edmonton Oilers and Vegas Golden Knights, who both have 72 points. The Ducks with 75. Your two wildcard teams right now in the West are Utah Mammoth with 73 and Seattle with 67. But if you look at this logjam we've got right now, we've got the Kings with 67 as well. San Jose and Nashville both with 66 points. And then Winnipeg, 62. Don't count out St. Louis. They've made some moves. They've traded some assets away, but they are only 7 points out of a playoff spot right now. We talk about the Buffalo Sabres and what they've done, 8-0 since the Olympic break, and they are currently steamrolling through their division, having beaten the Tampa Bay Lightning twice in a week's time. And let's go back and take a look at Sunday's game. It was one of the best NHL games I think we've had in quite some time. The amount of goals, the comebacks we had, the penalty fest as well. Buffalo ends up winning that game 8-7. They started the game off with a 3-0 lead before newcomer Corey Perry scored the first goal for Tampa Bay. They did trail 4-1, and then Tampa Bay goes off and rattles off 4 goals in the second period. So after 2, it was 4 apiece. Tampa Bay then takes the lead over Buffalo until Buffalo ties it late and gets the late goal with 4 minutes to go in the third. This is incredible what we're seeing right now with the Buffalo Sabres. I mean, Jarmo Kekalainen has just transformed this team. I think they were on a 2-game winning streak before they brought him in. But what they have done, going something like 27-5 or something like that, since that December, it is just incredible. And we're thinking about guys like, Tage Thompson and Alex Tuck, but you've got guys contributing like Josh Doan and Jason Zucker. On defense, Rasmus Dahlin is having a tremendous year, and they're getting the goaltending. Not so much in that game Sunday against Tampa in that 8-7 win, but they have been getting good goaltending by Pekalainen in net. So Tampa Bay doing, they're kind of struggling right now. They've lost the lead. They had a stranglehold in that division, kind of similar to like what we had seen with Carolina and obviously Colorado in the Western Conference. Now, what's going on in Tampa Bay? I don't know what is happening right now. Only 2-6 in their last 8, and those 2 games that they've won over that stretch of time were both against the Maple Leafs, the worst team in the Eastern Conference. Go figure, right? They have losses to Carolina, Buffalo twice. They got blown out by Minnesota, got blown out by Winnipeg, and then they lost again last night at home 5-2 against the Columbus Blue Jackets. I don't know what's happening in Tampa. It seems after that Olympic break and then John Cooper's dad passes away that they just haven't found their identity. I don't know what it was. Braden Point comes back from an injury, so they have an upper hand advantage. Victor Hedman is healthy. He starts playing again. But now we're starting to see Andre Vasilevsky show some chinks in the armor, so to speak. So Tampa Bay, they're still solidly in a playoff spot, right now with 82 points in the Atlantic. They do have 2 games in hand over Buffalo. They do trail by those 4 games, but over the last 10, they're only 4-6. So not good stuff right now going on in Tampa Bay. We switch over to the Western Conference now and the Pacific Division, more importantly, I don't know what's happening right now. I mean, 75 points is the leader where you look at in the Central, you have Colorado at 95. But a team that's really, struggling and disappointing right now is the Vegas Golden Knights. What's going on with Vegas right now? Does anybody know? Viva lost Vegas. They lose again. And these games aren't close. They did lose. It was 2-1 last night against Nashville. But I'm sorry, against the Dallas Stars. I don't see anything going right now good with the Golden Knights. If we go back just to the beginning of March, they started the month with 3 straight losses to the Penguins, Sabres, and Red Wings. And then 2 losses. They beat the Red Wings in OT, but then lose again at home to Minnesota and the Oilers. And then they lose yesterday to the Stars. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 losses and 1 overtime win, or else Vegas, they would have been pointless if they hadn't got any that win against the Red Wings right now. So something's going on right now in Vegas. Don't know what it is, but they've got to get that going back up there. Are they going to make the playoffs? It's hard to tell right now. The Edmonton Oilers are tied with them for second currently in the Pacific Division. Again, both teams trail the Ducks, the Anaheim Ducks. Yes, we're saying the Ducks, first place in the Pacific Division. They have 75 points. And then right behind them, you still have Seattle, San Jose, and Los Angeles. So it's still up for grabs for anybody right now at this point. I still think Vegas is one of the best teams in the league. They're just going through some struggles right now. I really want to see Jack Eichel and Mitch Marner pull that team together. They made those moves, picked up, Noah Hannafin last year, Rasmus Anderson this year, and they've got the D core, but something is lacking. Don't know what it is. And if I did know, then I would be a millionaire, but I don't. So unfortunately, right now, don't know what's going on in Vegas, but I still think they are going to be solidly placed. Suspensions, anyone? We had Evgeny Malkin get a 5-game suspension without pay for that slash against Rasmus Dahlin of the Buffalo Sabres back on March 5th. So a 5-game suspension. The incident occurred with only 35 seconds right to start off the second period. Pittsburgh, as we know, is suffering a Sidney Crosby injury in which he got hurt in the Olympic break. He was out for 4 weeks. I haven't heard to see exactly where Sid is and what his timetable is to return, but losing your next best player in Evgeny Malkin for 5 games when you're in this playoff push is serious stuff. And right now, Pittsburgh still with 79 points. They've outperformed where they were last year, but you cannot rely upon them to continue this with their main guys down. 5-game suspension, like I said. It says it's determined that Malkin will forfeit about $158,000 of salary in his suspension, and that money goes to the players' emergency assistance fund. So it's just not, going anywhere. It's going to a good cause. Now we're talking about suspensions What happened in Colorado last night with Nathan McKinnon? He received a 5-minute major and a game misconduct for goalie interference against Connor Ingram. Ingram left the game for the Oilers and was replaced by Tristan Jarry, who ended up leading the Oilers to victory. But at what point are we going to see these guys start getting suspensions for goalie interference calls? We saw what happened earlier in the year against my Kings when Mikko Rantanen took a headshot at Darcy Kemper. Ultimately, Darcy Kemper had a concussion. I think he's still, feeling those effects this season. He did make Team Canada's roster, but his play has just been inconsistent for the Kings. Rantanen wasn't even penalized on the play. McKinnon, though, did serve a 5 and a game misconduct, so they did lose him for the majority of that game. He is, however, not being suspended from last report. So I don't understand where this goes, where one guy can get a suspension, especially a 5-gamer, and then another guy doesn't get suspended. Let me know what you think in the comments if you're listening or if you're watching here on YouTube. Again, this is the neutral zone, my favorite time of the show that I do every week. And I usually do it here with Adam, and he, leads us up to this grand. Let's pick a better color than that. Let's go orange. He pumps up the power rankings that I do. And again, I do these power rankings just based on what I feel and what I've seen watching the games night after night. So without further ado, here are this week's power rankings. Coming in at number 10, dropping a couple of spots, are the New York Islanders. The Islanders still playing really good hockey. They did lose to the Ducks and the Kings on their Western trip last week. They do still have 79 points, tied with the Penguins for second in the Metro. They have a game with the Kings again coming up here on Long Island in the next few days. They're coming in at number 9. I'm sorry, number 10. At number 9 are the Boston Bruins. They beat my Kings last night. It seems like everybody's been beating the Kings lately, but Boston with a big win, a 2-1 win in overtime. The goal scored by Charlie McAvoy. A nice move, outlet pass to David Pastrnak, holds the blue line, stays onside, and feeds McAvoy, who deked Kemper for the game winner. Boston 5-2-3 over their last 10. They have 78 points, are 2 points to the good with the same amount of games played as Columbus, and have a 5-point lead over the Senators, who sit in 10th overall right now. So Boston coming in at number 9. Number 8, the Anaheim Ducks. Now, Anaheim with a big win last night, going up to Winnipeg, a Winnipeg team who's been playing a little bit better, especially here down the road the last 20 games. Really important win for the Ducks. They were outscored 4-0 in a bad loss to St. Louis on Sunday night, and they come back, go on the road, pick up a big win in decisive fashion. Again, 3 points ahead of Vegas and Edmonton in the Pacific Division. The Ducks are number 8 in the rankings. Coming in at number 7, the Minnesota Wild. Minnesota still doing their thing. They've dropped off of a little bit in their ground attempt to Dallas and Colorado. They have 87 points, only 3 points behind Dallas, and still only 8 points behind the Avalanche. 7-2-1 over their last 10. But when you look at the Stars, they are 9-0-1 over their last 10, having a 10-game winning streak snapped as well during that amount of time. Coming in at number 5, number 6. Geez, I can't even read right. The Montreal Canadiens. Montreal still playing fantastic hockey, picking up a big win. Let's see right now if that game has gone final. I'm going to check right now. It has gone final, 3-2 over Ottawa on the road. Big win on back-to-back nights. So that puts Montreal tied with Tampa Bay with 82 points. So Tampa Bay sliding their way down the Atlantic Division, and Montreal still up there getting those wins. Tampa Bay drops in the power rankings. A couple of weeks ago, we said they could possibly number one and take over Colorado, but they've dropped down to number 5. That is because of that rough stretch that they are on right now. We just talked about. They've got to get things together. Coming up for Tampa Bay over the next few days. Let's see what they've got here on their schedule. Bear with me here as I pull this up. Yeah, bad losses. 5-1 to Minnesota, 4-1 to the Jets, 5-2 they beat the Leafs, but then they give up 8 in a loop. They score 7 but give up 8. That is just the worst kind of a loss, especially deflating after they had made multiple comebacks in that game and even had a lead in the third period. Then they lose to Columbus at home. Big game against the Red Wings, who are right behind as well. And then another huge pivotal game at home Saturday against Carolina. They go on a Western Canadian trip and up to Seattle with a 4-game roadie against Seattle, Vancouver, Edmonton, and Calgary the next week. So big games, a lot of winnable games right there. But the ones against Detroit and the big one against Carolina are going to be very big to see where this Tampa Bay team stacks up. Coming in at number 4, the Dallas Stars. Like I said, they had a 10-game winning streak. That was snapped by an overtime loss to Colorado. Then Dallas rattles off a couple of more. They are doing fantastic. 90 points right now in the Western Conference, only 5 points behind the Avalanche. Getting great goaltending, Jake Ottinger, Jason Robertson, one of my favorite players, still continuing to score. Jamie Benn with a couple of big points and the game-winning goal last night against Vegas. Number 3, the Buffalo Sabres. They've moved their way from the bottom of the ranks of the NHL up to number 3 overall right now in the power rankings, and they are doing it in dramatic fashion. They are 8-0 since the break. And these games, they're playing really good competition. They're no slouch. They're tough to play against. They can outscore you. They can on any given night. We saw that, what they did in just the game they played against Tampa Bay, scoring 8 goals. The resilience, the fortitude that they have. They've beaten Vegas. They did have a bad, stinker against the Penguins. That was a road game. Then they come back and beat Nashville. They beat the Sharks last night. They've got a favorable matchup again. They'll be the third. They're playing the Capitals and then the Maple Leafs on Saturday. They also will be going on the road to play Vegas, San Jose, Los Angeles, and Anaheim. All 4 of those teams in the Western Conference, those are all going to be playoff games for all those teams and for Tampa Bay. Looking forward to this little stretch. They should beat the Caps. They should beat the Leafs. But then when it comes to the Western Conference, can Tampa Bay continue that momentum or will they slide? Carolina comes in at number 2, the best team in the Eastern Conference right now. 88 points, 8-2 over the last 10 games. What can you say about Carolina and Brandon Bussey and everything that he has done this year? A plus 42 goal differential. They're 24-8-2 at home. I believe that's the second best record to the Boston Bruins in the NHL. Fantastic job by Carolina. And the only reason why they're not number 1 right now is because Colorado is still the best team in the league. Colorado right now, 95 points, 7-3 over the last 10. They did lose to Edmonton last night. We just talked about that, especially with Nathan McKinnon going out in that game. But Colorado, let's take a look at what their schedule brings here. Give me another second. So Colorado coming up the rest of this week. They play tomorrow night against Seattle and then the Jets, both games on the road. And then they come home and play the Penguins and Stars, another pivotal game with Dallas. That one will be at home next Wednesday, a week from today, and then the end next week on the road against the Blackhawks. I think Colorado wins one, two, three, at least five, maybe four out of those five games. I could say five. They could beat Dallas, but that game could be a close one. So that's the top. That's the power rankings right now. Again, there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just what I've felt and what I see throughout the season. And right now, those are those teams. This has been so inconsistent from about three on down this season. Colorado's remained on top, along with Carolina and usually Tampa Bay, but I mean, there's no Edmonton Oilers up there right now. I would like to see Edmonton start doing something. Don't know how bad Connor Ingram's injury is going to be. I'm assuming he was under concussion protocol after taking that hit from Nathan McKinnon. I think he was bleeding a little bit as well, but don't know exactly what happened with him. So no Vegas in the top, no Edmonton, two teams that we're accustomed to seeing, but the Ducks are up there as well. Another team I wanted to mention right now, kind of playing, kind of 50-50 hockey, still in a playoff spot, are the Utah Mammoth. Utah right now with 73 points. They are 6 points ahead of the second wild card team, Seattle Kraken. They're 6-3-1 over their last 10. Still just playing really good hockey. Vamelka, solid in net. I think Utah stays and gets in. And then we're talking about Seattle, Los Angeles, Nashville, and San Jose. One of those four will be the second wild card team. I hope it's my Kings, obviously. They've got some work to do. They blew a big game against Montreal a couple of nights ago in which they had a lead late and then ended up losing that game in regulation, picking up 0 points. Bad loss last night. They did get one against the Bruins, but you can't be wasting points when they're so critical this stage in the season. Also, big time right now in college hockey as conference tournaments begin today and throughout the weekend. And on Sunday will be Selection Sunday for the NCAA Collegiate Hockey Tournament and the Frozen Four, which we are expected to be a really good one this year. I think your top teams are still going to be all the Michigan teams. Penn State is not a sleeper. They're going to be very dangerous, especially with the way that they have been playing over the last month. But expect, really good hockey. If you want to tune into the college games, they're going to be on ESPN, I believe, and you can find them, I think, like on Big Ten Network and some of the other networks that carry college sports. But yeah, college hockey right now. I mean, we're in it. We've had the greatest NHL season I think we've ever had, as far as the parity that we've had, what we are seeing out of the youth. We've talked about the youth movement over and over again, and that's translating right now. We saw what happened in the Olympics, and then the collegiate hockey season right now is another phenomenal one of the best I think we've had in many years. As far as the NHL goes, Connor McDavid still leads with 110 points. Nikita Kucherov and Nathan McKinnon, both with 104. Leon Draisaitl with 94, and Macklin Celebrini of the San Jose Sharks with 90 points. Those are the top 5 point getters right now in the NHL. As far as goalies go, goals against average, still Scott Wedgwood, but Casey DeSmith, the backup over in Dallas, with a 2.28. Andre Vasilevsky slipped up a little bit. He's down to a 2.32. Brandon Bussey, a 2.38. And then Mackenzie Blackwood, the other Colorado Avalanche goalie, up there at a 2.42 goals against average. Evan Bouchard, destroying defensemen right now with points, leading Zach Werenski, who has 68. Evan Bouchard has 75. Cale Makar, 66. Lane Hudson with 65. And Quinn Hughes of Minnesota Wild with 64 round out the top 5 in defensive points. For the rookies, Anaheim Ducks, Beckett Seneca still leading in rookie scoring. He has 51 points. Ivan Demidov, who picked up a goal tonight for Montreal, has 49. Matthew Schaefer, the rookie out of Long Island, helping those Islanders get to where they're at and in this playoff push that we're seeing right now, he has 47 points. Then we have a drop off, Ryan Leonard and Oliver Kapanen, both with 33. Those are your stats right now across the NHL. Wow. It's kind of hard doing this show by yourself without your co-host. So thank you all for bearing with me as we get this done tonight. It's going to be a short show. Only 2 games that we covered tonight. We already know about the game in which Montreal won, and then the Flyers pick up an empty netter. They beat Washington 2-1. Tomorrow, we've got a full slate of games. Huge slate of games tomorrow. Some matchups that I am looking forward to: Vegas and Pittsburgh in Vegas, Seattle and Colorado. Seattle had a 2-0 lead last night against Nashville, who's another team that's fighting for a playoff spot. They ended up losing that game 4-2. They blew that lead. They had that 2-goal lead in the second period. Edmonton and Dallas also going to be a really good game to look out for. And Columbus and Florida. Can Columbus keep winning under Rick Bowness? They have done tremendous things. They are so close to a playoff spot right now. And then the number 1 game of the night, I think, Tampa Bay and Detroit. Pivotal game for both teams as we know where they stand together in the standings. So without further ado, I am going to be signing off here for tonight on the Neutral Zone. Again, thank you all for tuning in. It's been a really good show, I think. But again, let's play a little mention to our sponsors. Planet Jerky, premium beef jerky, a jerky that's on a whole other planet. You can order at planetjerky.net. I've tried it. It's very good. There's a nice little street fair that they do here at the college the first Friday of every month, and Planet Jerky is there giving out samples. You can purchase their product at planetjerky.net. I know Adam likes that spicy habanero that he always talks about so greatly. And again, Vital Apparel. IE Sports is proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. That's so important these days, is mental health and the research that goes into that. Every purchase you make goes towards that fund. If you use the code IESR, you do get 15% off of their comfortable and inspiring gym wear. So help them and help yourself get into shape. Thank you so much to Larry B., our czar and overlord here at IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. So again, this is Freddie B. signing off for tonight. Everybody, we will reconvene next Wednesday. Hopefully Adam will be back. I know he had some things. Kids, they're tough sometimes, and sometimes they put you into predicaments in which you can't meet your obligations. So Adam, I know what it's like. Take care of the kids at home, and we'll be back next week talking all things hockey. We'll be 1 week closer to the start of the playoffs. Again, the NCAA bracket will be available. Games will be starting next week as well for the tournament. And we'll cover the PWHL as well as they get to the end of their regular season. So thank you so much for tuning in. This is Freddie B. with IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We'll talk again next week. Bye-bye.